Hi, guys. Did we do it?
Hi, Marie.
Hi. Hello. Is that Kira?
Yeah, that's me.
Greetings.
That's my little photo.
Beautiful.
Hey girls,
Hi,
Oh,
how you doing?
that's Army.
Marie.
Guys, I'm so excited to introduce you to my friend Carmi today. Really.
Aw.
Wait to meet this lady. Hold on. I've got some people. Hold on. It's always a bit of a rush. Just like talk amongst yourselves for a minute while I send this.
Okay,
This
Kavri
link
is going to be joining us too in a few minutes.
Oh,
Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm so excited about juicing. I've already had 2 pineapple juices and an orange juice.
Ooh, I'm making pina colada with fresh coconut and pineapple today.
Oh my God. So good. So good. I have to say, juice just makes me so happy.
dude, it makes me so happy too. Do you know what I realized? So I was thinking about hummingbirds the other day, and I was like, you know how hummingbirds are a symbol of joy, at least like in a Native American culture, that's like what the medicine is for a hummingbird. And their symbology is joy, if you ever like read about it. And I was like, no wonder, it's because they survive on this beautiful nectar. Like, no wonder they're so happy. It's like nectar and flowers all day long, and colors and green and red. And like, I don't know, I was like, I feel like a freaking hummingbird and I have so much energy. It's like insane how much energy I have. And I used to rely on caffeine for it. And I was like, oh my God, that didn't even do close to the job. Not even close to the real
I know.
thing. So amazing.
Yeah.
So
Had a
great.
coffee the other day to like feel it out, and the crash was so painful. Like
What did you have? I'm sorry, Marie, what did you say?
the crash. I had
What
a
was the food?
coffee.
Oh, a coffee. Oh.
I just wanted to feel it out. I was like, I'm gonna have one. And it was the boom boom was really alarming. I was like, I'm alarmed. I'm literally in the state of fear. My body, like the jitters. I mean, it was not pretty. Somebody is talking like a crazy person outside. All right, let me see. Did I get this to the people? Did I get it to the people? I think I did. All right. Well, I'm just going to kind of see how this plays out. I wanted to start today with a little meditation. Can we do that?
Mhm.
Yay. Let's meditate. It's always a good idea. Let me make sure I'm streaming. Are you guys on? Is anyone watching? Oh, I am. Hey, Colleen. Hi, Susan. Hi, Jill. Hi, Melissa. Oh my gosh, how fun. Will you let me in the Zoom, Justin? I don't see you in the Zoom. I don't see you. Are you in the waiting room? I don't see. Hi, friends. I'm so glad you're all here. Wow. Isn't this fun? This is what we do on Mondays now. I had a miraculous Monday so far, and I cannot wait to tell you about it. You're going to lose your mind. It was so good. It was so good. And it includes all of you, which is the amazingness of miracles, I feel, is that they're not only for me, they're for all of us. And every time I get a miracle and I share it with you guys, then you get the miracle too. And it's really one of my favorite concepts from the Course of Miracles, which is when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. It's fun. Oh, here we are. This is what we do on Mondays now. Here we are. I had a, there I am. All right, so let's meditate. Justin, I don't know what's happening with you, friend. I would love to let you in the Zoom. I need soon, someday, I'm gonna have a helper on these things because I'm not always the best. But everybody else got here, so I'm trusting that it's gonna work. All right, all right, all right. Hold on, let me just do one more thing before we start. Sorry, friends, sorry, friends. Justin, I'm gonna email it to you because it's always nice to have you. All right, so I invite you now in this moment to sit comfortably with your feet on the ground and your hands facing upwards in your lap. Go ahead and close your eyes for this one. You might take a few deep breaths in and out through your nose. Just as a reminder that you are your breath. Just taking a few moments to allow all things to be exactly as they are. So whatever's happening in your brain, whatever's happening in the body, whatever's happening in your heart, whatever's happening in your environment, in your home, in the world. Just taking a moment to reside in this moment, God's time. Just expanding into this feeling of being fully supported, unconditionally loved, nourished, taking a few moments to ground out any negative energy from the base of your spine down into the earth, giving it to the grandmother who knows how to heal, nurture, and protect. In this moment, we give our willingness to learn and to embrace and to trust our Creator. And then allowing that creative energy now to come into your field, starting at the top of your head, moving down your spine, and then all the way down into the earth. So you become a vehicle, a transmuter of the divine energy, filling up with that golden light all of the spaces that are now cleared. Any energy that's not yours, any fear, any confusion, filling in with love, with patience, with purpose. We'll go ahead here and take 3 conscious breaths together. So you'll breathe in through your nose to the count of 4. You'll hold for 4, and then you'll exhale through your mouth to the count of 8. So you can go on your own or stay with me. As you're ready, go ahead and breathe deep through your nose. Let your belly get super big. Hold your breath, feel your heart beating, and then open your mouth and exhale all the way out audibly. See if you can count to 8. And then 2 more, just like that, breathing in all the way out audibly. And then holding your count. And exhaling through your mouth. One more. Just noticing now maybe some energy in your fingertips or your toes. Maybe some energy around your eyes, your jaw. Take a moment to really feel grateful for this life, for all of the people in it, all of the experiences, this beautiful planet, the night skies, the sunshine, the clouds. Go ahead and place your hands together in front of your heart. Take a moment to revel in this gratitude, to reveal this gratitude to yourselves, just asking that you might be a blessing. All to holding the vision that all beings everywhere are happy and free. Namaste. Namaste. Beauties, beautiful souls. Thank you for that moment in heaven with my friends and my mighty companions. You know, when I had this vision, hey Deborah, of the mighty companions, it was a really different, it was just a really different thing. And now it's becoming something like this, where we get together live and we talk about the things that are on our hearts and look to see how as a community we can support each other by simply just being, right? And I wanted to, I'm super grateful Carmi's here and I don't know how long you're going to be here. So I'm just going to kind of share a little bit around what had happened from the past and the present and where we're going in the future. And when I met Carmi, I was living in Toledo, Ohio at the time, and she was really interested in yoga teacher training. And I was kind of huffing and puffing, like, I don't know if I want to do a teacher training. And she was like, this really bright, beautiful woman. And she's like, I want to do a teacher training. And I'm like, all right, I think we could probably do that. And one of the first days of the training, she shared, and I hope it's okay that I share this, she shared that she had stopped drinking. And I thought to myself when she said that, there's no way I could do that. That was my ego. My first thought was like, there's no way I could do that. And it really resonated with one of our yogic principles in the It's Yoga system, which was the students are the teachers. So here was this, I was supposed to be the teacher, but here was this beautiful woman who was really demonstrating how to get through addiction, how to get over things. And needless to say, the relationship has gone on to lots of training since then, and she's now in our coaching program. She's the last one standing. I came out public around all of the things. You guys know my story. And Carmi was really the last one standing, who was like, I love you. I love you till the end of time. And I was like, really? Thank you so much for that, Carmi. Like, thank you for demonstrating what it is, because the program was called Loving Consciousness in Action. That was the name of the program. So it was an opportunity for all of us to demonstrate loving consciousness in action. And so I really figured everything that was going down was just great curriculum that was coming together that could support us all in practicing, because it's not always easy to show up in a loving way, especially when we're triggered or when we're feeling vulnerable or when things aren't going the way that we think they should or the way that we want them to. It definitely has that resonance of like, we want to defend it or we want to deflect it. And that step that Carmi took has just really, really nurtured me to the point where we are now doing practice coaching, and Carmi has been my coach a few times in this experience. And I have been like really wowed around this material that I have and these gifts that I have, and just really wanting to share them with you in a bigger way. Because one of the things that happened when all of this went down was that I was like, I don't want to do anything with the old, like all of the tools, all of things. And I kind of went from the opposite of being like super structured to just way out of bounds. Anybody else done that? Like something happens in your life and you're like, F that, I don't want anything to do with it. I'm going in a totally different direction. Well, I got on the phone with Carmi on Friday, and I kind of knew that she was going to be the coach, like overcorrecting, even though it was her coaching session, because I was just really in the dungeons of my own subconscious patterning. I was really in my own grief. I was feeling all sorts of things. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I was married before I was married to Danny. And my husband, my late husband, was my yoga teacher and the founder of the system that we've been practicing. And it was his 10-year, the anniversary of his death on Saturday. So last week, it's always kind of like intense for me because it's grief. Anybody else experience grief, like lost someone you really loved, or a relationship or a divorce or something in your life where it's like, that was really effing hard. And my heart's broken. My heart's literally broken in a million pieces. And I think grief in and of itself is its own, I don't know, for lack of a better word, demon. It's not a bad one, but it's definitely an entity. It definitely feels like a heaviness. And at the time, I could only deal with as much as I could deal with. So about 2 to 3 months in, after he passed, I couldn't deal with it anymore. Like I couldn't deal with the discomfort or the pain or all of it. And subsequently, I met Daniel and was like, okay, I'm just going to do a 1, 2, 3 switch, which is pretty much one of our It's Yoga lines too, right? Like just 1, 2, 3 switch. And I knew this was an opportunity at love. And I knew that Larry would be supportive. I actually heard him say, good for you, babe. So I kind of just tabled the grief. I kind of was just like, it was always there, but the processing of it, I could only take in waves. It was such a heaviness, and it triggered not only the fact that I had lost my husband, but it just triggered all of the other sadnesses and all of the other things that I've probably experienced in all of my lifetimes. And every time I would get into that feeling, it was just a lot to bear. And so fast forward, here we are, we were approaching our 10-year this year, and we had all of these plans, these like celebrations we were going to have. We had these people coming down. And then I said the T word, which you guys know the T word, publicly. And I said I was a fan. And then it seemed like everything just crumbled in a really quick, fast way. And what I'm realizing now through my call with Carmi on Friday was that it was an opportunity for me to heal betrayal again, to heal grief of things not happening the way that I thought that they should. You know, I remember when Larry had passed, and I was like, I was mad. I was like, I felt betrayed. I couldn't believe that he would leave me in the world by myself. I left my family for him. He was 30 years older, a different religion. I mean, it's not like this is the first time I think any of us in these calls have gone outside the box and really paid the price for that. In relationships or however it shows up, that's kind of what happens. The more you accept your destiny, the more you walk towards the light, the more you've got to let go of. Isn't that the truth? And it's hard because we're attached and we love the things. We've normalized the things that aren't necessarily good for us, like my grief. It was just kind of a normal feeling. And so when my community started to disintegrate, it was like going through it all over again. And this is what happens, right? Because we learn through contrast. And until we really heal something, it's going to keep showing up for us. Like, hi, I'm still here. And this juicing aspect has been really powerful because what I've noticed is that the more light and life I put in my body, it's like showing me where there's dark. Literally, like I'm like, oh, there's some over there. And one of the things that I find some of us perhaps being challenged by is that we see the darkness within us, or we see the pain, or we see the discomfort, and we think that that's what we are. Anybody else have that? That's what I was, that's where I was stuck. And that's what Carmi was showing me the other day. I was stuck because the grief was coming, the pain, the discomfort, the addiction, the attachment, the criticism. Gosh, does anybody else have an inner critic that lives in their brain? Holy crap, that guy's mean. That guy is straight up mean. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like the guy is just not a good guy. And what I've learned through all of this yoga training and coaching is I also have an inner teacher. But the issue that I run into is that when my critic starts to go off, my teacher just sits in meditation. It's not going to come to my rescue with the sort of discrimination and go battle the ego. I keep thinking it will, and I keep kind of wishing and praying that it will, but it won't. If anybody else has sorted this out with their inner teacher, please let me know. I'm open to feedback. But my inner teacher just totally goes immediately into the unified state of love and peace and joy and just sits and waits for me to realize that that inner critic and all of the grief and all of the judgment and all the fear and all the stuff is not me. But you see what I'm saying? The critic somehow has convinced me that that's what I am. And then I start to behave that way, or I bite somebody. I'm not very kind. I have a little passive aggressive, or a little something shows up. One of the teachings that I love from the course is that fear is an illusion. But what's happened in these last few months is that I'm kind of really reanalyzing that because I've seen so much fear. And I've been going through so much fear, my own and the collectives. I've really looked at the hard things. And I'm like, well, that really feels real, Spirit. So what do you mean? Fear is not real. What I'm coming up with, and we can open the discussion here soon, is that it's real, but it doesn't have power over me until I give it the power. And whenever I go into deeper levels of healing myself, I seem to forget that it doesn't have power over me, that I'm the one with the power. I'm the one that can say no to whatever it is I'm tempted to do. It's just a temptation, right? Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. It's such a, like, whoa. It's an identification issue that we often have, isn't it? And I'm going to open it here in a second, but I wanted to share that because Carmi sat with me so beautifully as I believed I was the one with the low self-esteem, the one that had been betrayed, the one that had been, all of the things, side wings. I was playing the victim. I really was. And I really believe there's still a part of me that I have every reason to. But here's the kicker. If I stay there, I suffer. I just do. And I know that we're going to have a deep conversation on forgiveness here soon. I spent a lot of time on this topic. But Carmi invited me to do a forgiveness process, which is one of our tools. And I was like, write down all of your resentments, all of your grievances, all of your judgments. I don't know, I probably had 35, 40 at least. So I sat down Friday afternoon. It was like, but I'm releasing the emotions. We were also doing this emotion code training and stuff. So I'm releasing the emotions. So why is it still here? It's still here because it's still in my head and it's deep. And I haven't only thought it once. I've thought it 100 times that I've been betrayed, or I have a right to be upset, or I'm sad, or whatever the emotion is. And so when I wrote it all, this is the power of this process, is that you write it all out. There it is. It's like, Shivan, when you wrote me, you're like, it was so powerful to write down my fears. I'm like, I know, because you kind of get it out. There's a cleansing process. And not only do you get it out, you take ownership for it. And when you take ownership for it, that means you can let it go because it's yours to let go of. I'm not waiting for something from the outside to happen. I'm like, oh, these are all my resentments. And then I ask, well, do I want these anymore? Are they serving my highest light when I love myself enough? The second part of the process is to ask if I'm willing to let these things go. And then I get to see, well, what am I really learning? And that brought me right back to, I'm not my grief. I'm not the betrayed. I'm not the one with the self-esteem. When I let go of the resentments, when I'm willing to see them differently, I got powerful, powerful lessons. Really beautiful. Trying to remember some now, like self-love and self-respect. And that again comes back to identification. Well, who am I? Am I the critic, or am I the teacher? And that's why the students are always the teachers. The ones that are triggering you are the teachers. And we bless them and we thank them. Thank you for the opportunity for me to look at my attachment here. Thank you for the opportunity for me to learn about, wow, I'm still very much attached to somebody else's dream, even. A lot of the work that I was doing was all wrapped up in me, maintaining my late husband's legacy. I'm married, I have 2 kids, I live in Mexico. Like, maybe that's not really the legacy that I want anymore. Maybe it's not about that. I don't think he would care about that at all. That was me trying to hold on to it because I didn't want to deal with the grief, or I didn't want to let that go. So I was trying to keep it alive. And we all do this, and it takes so much energy, doesn't it? It takes it literally is taking the energy away from co-creation. And that's why I was so grateful to return back to the structure and some of the tools. And I wanted to share another one with you as we get into the call, that will help those of you that are doing this juice feasting business, because, a lot of times we don't want to deal with structure, or we don't want to kind of have an assignment, but everything in life is an assignment. Every relationship is an assignment. And the assignment, comes down to, who do I think I am? And who am I going to identify with? It doesn't mean I can bypass my grief, but it does mean I can move through it faster. I can look at it, I can feel its discomfort, and then I can surrender it and give it back to the mother who knows what to do with it, instead of holding on to it and trying to process it myself, which causes density in the body. So as this juicing kind of keeps up and keeps unfolding for some of you who are going on this journey, I just wanted to say that, you're filling up with life force in a way that you might not have done before. And it's intense. It can be really intense. Your body is going to buck and get mad, and your cravings and all of that. But it's like, you are your inner teacher. And it's going to be okay, because that inner teacher is connected to, the sun and the stars. It created that. So it has this power, and it's in us. And I just wish I had known it sooner. I do. I've wasted so much time. But that's okay, because, time is an illusion in and of itself as well. So it's all good. And every step you take in that direction is adding for the healing of all of us. When we heal, we're not healed alone. And that's what this is really about. It's you got to be able to look at the dark stuff. You do. Yours and everybody else's. But as you do it, just know that's not who you are. That's who you're not. And when you own that, you can let that go. Does that make sense? If you avoid it, it still has power over you because you're avoiding it. I don't want to look. It's too scary. It's too sad. I can't deal. I might cry. 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 You know, they say that you have 2 kidneys in your body. Then you have your 3rd kidney, which is your skin. And I would venture to say that we have 4, and those are our eyes. And that tears, when the waters come out, that's cleansing. And that's just letting it out. And I think I have swallowed so many tears over the years when they're gifts of the spirit within. And it's a cleaning. It's like you're getting cleaned from the inside. Cleaning has to do with water, doesn't it? We got to move these waters. We got to move the waters. And there's some thick stuff in there, friends. Sludgy. Our lymphatics are really, really sluggish. I know, it's going to be fine. We've eaten so much crap over the years, and it's going to be fine. Well, why did we do all those things? Because we were shoving down the emotion. And even if you just take away one thing, you're going to give yourself an opportunity to heal on deeper and deeper levels. And if you've decided that this lifetime, that's what this is about, then you found yourself in a really empowering place, because that's what we're all up to here. We said, I'm going to go as far as I can. And I'm not going to rush it or push myself, which I often do. I'm going to slow down, and sometimes I'm going to need some help along the way. So thank you, Carmi, for that. And I just wanted to say, you guys, like, I had this miracle this morning and last night, because I was really like, oh my God, we're starting this juice thing tomorrow. So I left. I needed some time. And, you know, when you have little kids, anybody else with little kids knows, like, they're always so happy and so bright. And so I love you. And sometimes I'm just like, God, how could you be so happy all the time? They're such great teachers. I just needed some space. And so I left my family for a little bit. I went to this house that I really, really love. It's like my dream house, and I want it. And it's like $1 gazillion. And so that's part of the reason why I was like busting my butt and trying to, like, you know, get all this money in. And this is a whole other conversation I want to have with you guys, because it's an important one around how we manifest our dreams and how all the things. But I went to the house, and I couldn't get in, obviously, but I kind of stayed outside, and I was just breathing and being with it and feeling it. Oh my God, why does this house keep calling me, God? Like, and how am I going to get this house? Are you nutso? My business is gone. Everything. I have no more money. Like, well, how is this going to happen? I owe all this. Why do you keep calling me back to this house? And so that was that. I went home, had a night with the fam. It's all good. Got up this morning, got the kids going, got everybody juiced up, got the kids off to school today. And we had to drop off the car, and Danny goes, do you want to get a juice? And I went, great. So we got this huge pineapple juices from the side of the road. This amazing lady makes this pineapple juice that will blow your head off. So good. I drank 2 huge ones, like in a New York minute. I couldn't get it in my body fast. I go, let's go see the house. He's like, all right, we have 20 minutes before, you know, let's go. So we go to the house, and the gardener's there. And he's like, you want to come in? And we were like, yeah, we want to come in. So we go in the back, and it's overlooking the Pacific. It's a dream house. It's a dream house. I'm going to invite all of you guys to this dream house for trainings, because it's designed for that as well. Training sessions, whatever we call these things in the future. We're just walking around. And I'm like, all right, well, this is a miracle. And where there's a will, there's a way, right? So I'm just going to keep staying open. But my critic mind is like, But my spirit, I was hugging the trees. There's fruit on some of the trees. They're so beautiful. There's coconuts, there's palm trees, there's a huge pool. It's just so beautiful. So, so, so beautiful. It's a cliff house. So it's like, so I'm staying open. But it was a miracle. And the only reason that all of that transpired was because I let go. I went into the grief on another layer. Is it gone? I don't think so. She did some emotion code healing for me. She's like, oh, sister, I'm letting go more. It's still, but I'm letting it go more and more. And I think that that's all we're really asked to do, is just to let go of who we're not, so that more of who we are can really shine through. And that's what I wanted to say to you beautiful people today. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm sure we'll keep going. Carmi, do you want to share anything about that? And you can totally pass. I know I put you on the spot today, but I love you so much.
No, I love you too, Marie. And it was so beautiful. I mean, you really just went for it. And when I read everything that you had written down, it was literally like this heavy container that you had kept yourself in, and I could just feel it shattered. Like when I read your soul lessons, I was like, there it is. That's the release that hadn't taken place yet. And you let go. And what transpired was so empowering. Like, I wish I could remember some of the really big ones. They were all really big. They were so big. And it was just like this beautiful reminder that all of that is leading you to creating your dream. Like, it gets to be yours now. And I just felt like the darkness kind of leave, and it was like very spacious. So way to go. And it's not easy. I know it's not easy. I avoided doing a forgiveness process on myself for like at least a good 18 months, if not 2 years. But once you get there, I mean, you got there in like a day. I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. There it is. You know, it's beautiful. It's powerful. So way to go. I'm so, so proud of you and grateful that you trusted me with all of that. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This is one of the original Mighty Companions. This is what we do. This is what we do. And we go through the work and we hold the space. And it was like, I was sitting there telling her all of my darkest, yuckiest stuff. And she was still looking at me like, yeah, but none of that's who you are. Maybe you need to get rid of that. Maybe it would be a good idea to write that down, so you can look at it, decide if that's what you want anymore. Because again, those are the feelings. Do I want to be in that vibration? And it was like a dark container, you know, and it was traumatic. There's so much. I look at my kids and I think to myself, think of all of the trauma you've had since you were a child. Think of that, guys. Where is that? Where is it? Is it gone just because you're a grown-up? Just because you think you're spiritual now, or you got your dream job, or things? No, it's still there somewhere. And it keeps coming up in the assignments that we attract. So somehow I attracted this situation. I have to take responsibility for it. The anger and all of that was within me. So they just triggered it in a big way. And it was so powerful. So we just want to say, like, if anybody wants to do some of that kind of work, again, I'm going to keep digging around. Now my next tool is an 8 keys on it, so that I can get really clear on how I want to serve, and if there's ways that we can collaborate still with these coaching tools, because they're amazing and they come from my coach and mentor who's passed on now, and she was just a powerhouse, and they're beautiful. And I was grateful to put them aside for 3 months to return and go, oh wow, that's powerful. That's some really, really good juice. Yeah, some of my soul lessons were honesty, expansiveness, magnitude, courage, faith, self-expression, divine connection, truth, acceptance, co-creation, beautiful generosity, faith, discernment. And then once the soul lesson is there, then there's gratitude. Then you're like, oh, I'm so grateful. I can actually say, really and honestly, I'm grateful that this happened. I really am. I'm so grateful. It opened so many doors for my own healing. And it still will, because that's God. God is a giver. We think God's taking away my food and my coffee. No, he's not. He's giving you pineapple juice. It's like, would you just stop eating that crap and drink some juice, for Christ's sake, please? Literally, for Christ's sake, within you. Like, do that. Just try it for one day, see what happens. But it's just really beautiful. It's like God gives, keeps going, just keeps giving and giving and giving. And the mother, I can't even believe how much she can take. Wow, powerful, powerful, beautiful work. So if anybody's interested in more of that, please let us know. And if anyone wants to share, please feel free.
Yeah, I'll touch on some things. I mean, you said it so well with the fact that that's not, you know, all of those feelings and all of those experiences and everything that you've gone through is not you, because we truly are the observer. We are the unobservable aspect that isn't going through all of those feelings and isn't having those or observing them. And what I like to do and what gives me in those sort of darkest moments of just utmost grief, I always like coming at it after the fact, you know, feeling it fully, but then coming from it from a place of gratitude, where like, wow, I get to feel all of that. Like I
Wow. Here we go.
I lost it. Maybe my connection's not strong enough. Can y'all hear me okay? Yeah.
Now we can. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know where I left off, but I was just saying that when I'm experiencing those moments of you know, utmost grief or whatever sort of intense feelings that are coming my way, I like coming at it from a sense of gratitude of just the fact that I get to be here to experience the full range of emotions, the full spectrum, that full vivid like paint palette that I get to dip into and feel fully, you know, like, because how boring would it be otherwise, you know, like if we didn't have that full scope to where I got to feel both the highs and the lows, like what, you know, it wouldn't be nearly as fun. And so just coming at it after the fact of like, wow, I get to do that. I get to be here in this, even if that, you know, because heartbreak is especially the most painful experience for me at least. Um, but even coming after the fact with that, just be like, wow, I get to experience that and I get to learn from that. What a catalyzing experience to grow from. So that always helps me just kind of come to terms with it and see it from a place of gratitude instead of this whole victim mentality that we're often taught and we often get stuck in is, you know, this is empowering, this is happening for me, this is not happening to me, this is for me, this is to show me something, and I get to lean into that. So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love that you're like, I get to do this. I'm like, I like all the love. I'm just a lover. But I feel you. I know it's a real shift in perception. That would be a miracle. Like, yay, I get to experience the grief. And that's why some of the tears and some of the pain that's coming through, I'm learning how to work with it, not avoid it so much, you know, and I don't know if that's a past program that, you know, maybe I'm not the only one that has that program, that we just avoid discomfort. Or, you know, you're young and you're like, don't cry, you know, don't cry, crying's for babies, or you're too sensitive, or whatever it is. It's created some kind of pattern that's unhealthy. And so that's a really powerful way of looking at it, Justin. Yeah, like you get to do this work now as a grown-up. You get to heal your stuff. You get to heal your inner child stuff. You get to look at the traumas in your life and bless them, you know, bring them forward for blessing and gratitude. And that is ultimately how I understand forgiveness to be, that I'm letting this energy, this density go. Whatever the others do with it is not, it's like, it's their business. God's got, you know, the universe is on that. I don't have to deal with that. I just get to take care of my side of the street as best that I can. And that to me feels really like the next level for all of us. Anybody else want to share
Yeah,
something?
because I mean, every experience, just to quickly add on to that, every experience that we encounter, you know, every person that we encounter, all divinely arranged. Like it's all, there's nothing that happens randomly. It's all to give us things. So just, yeah, to take that perspective itself.
It's perfectly designed. Isn't that so amazing? Like, wow, you know, the random elevator people, random park, and that, and then the relationships we have, and how powerful they are, and our parents, and just all of it, like all of those relationships perfectly organized for your learning. And even if you miss a lesson, this is what I'm learning, even if I thought I might have missed a lesson or whatever, it's held for me in a trust. Don't worry, it's coming back. You can count on that. God's looking for all of you. All your, it's coming back for you. You don't have to worry, oh, I miss it. It's like this house. I wanted it 6 months ago. I can't believe it's still sitting there. I can't believe someone didn't come in here and scoop that thing up. Because it's still there. It's my house. Send out some love for that, okay, guys? Because when I'll share it with you, I will share it with you. And then when you come down, you can stay at the little hacienda close to there. You can walk back and forth. And then we can start looking for the land and putting that whole thing. We looked at some more properties too, but I think we need something really big. That's a whole other conversation. We haven't really found like big. 2 acres is like enough for me. I'm just kidding. Come on, Nicole, give us what you got, babe.
Hi, everybody. So forgiveness is like, I love that that's what we're talking about today, because this has been this big, like, flashing neon sign in my life for like a couple of years now. Within my previous marriage, there was a disloyalty that occurred. And I remember sitting down with the minister of my church and saying, teach me how to forgive. Like, teach me, what does Jesus say about forgiveness? Like, how do I do this? And he was like, I read this book one time, get this book. And the book was like this fat. And I was like, I am in this horrible situation. I'm not going to read a freaking book. Like, and for some reason I thought I could get to forgiveness like on the detour path, like the really short path. I didn't realize what a long path sometimes forgiveness can be. So I have a couple things I wanted to say about it. I think that everything is energy, like everything is frequency. So depending what the situation is that we're trying to forgive, just thinking about like the scale of energy from like love to fear and all the emotions that are in between. If we're still meddling in the emotions of what that situation, like whatever it is, like Marie, if you're talking about that abandonment feeling, if we're still in that feeling, we're not going to get to forgiveness. It's completely unrealistic. Like, we kind of have to move through some of those other emotions, raise the frequency. And then once we get to a frequency that's closer to love, I almost feel like forgiveness kind of automatically happens. And that's like one scenario. That's what's happened to me, is like I finally get to a point where I freed myself up from the anger and the sorrow and the resentment and just all that stuff, that kind of like the messy feelings of things and how it should have been and could have been and all that stuff. As soon as you deal with the stuff, you kind of raise up to a point where you're at love. And when you're in love, forgiveness just happens, because it's just part of that. It's a part of that freedom that love, I think, gifts us, where everyone just gets like, like let off the hook a little bit. Like, oh, you know what? While we are divine beings, we're also human and we screw things up. There's mistakes that actually happen. And so if another person hurt me in some way, or I perceive that they left me or abandoned me, or whatever that story is that you have in your head, if we can get to the point where we say, oh, it's all just a mistake, it's an error. It's like when your child, if a 4-year-old does something that's wrong, we don't like hold a grudge against the 4-year-old, right? Because we're like, they're a kid, they made a mistake, is what we call it. But then somehow as we get older, I feel like our egos get real tangled up in the stories of things, and we no longer remember that people are, pieces of divinity, but also able to make mistakes, and so kind of, I guess what I'm trying to say is being able to see in another person the reflection of ourselves and say, okay, if I'm expecting another person to be perfect, then that means I'm expecting myself to be perfect. So if I know that I err, then other people are going to err. If I know that I judge, I know other people are going to judge. And everything is a mirror. It's always bouncing us back and forth. So therefore, once I can see that there's this interplay between people, like you said, Marie, before, we're all lessons for one another in relationships, right? So getting to the point in any type of story that we have about our parents, our, friends, spouses, the government, whatever you want to call it. And that government one's hard for me right now. Like, the bigger picture is hard for me right now. That's kind of what I'm working on. But knowing that other people maybe just don't know, like maybe someone's making a mistake because they honestly don't know. And you can say like, but how do they not know? How are they not reading? How are they not learning? Well, I also, if I can remember not too long ago, didn't know. You know, as a child, you make mistakes because you don't know. Or even if you know, you might not know. Like you might not have integrated the information, the wisdom, the gnosis yet. So really just I feel like the more we can just raise our vibration in life, and I'm going to pull this to an ending here, but the juicing has been amazing for me. Like just literally 1 week of fresh fruits and vegetables only and nothing else to bring me down. It just raises your vibration up to the point where nothing else seems like that big of a deal anymore, because you're no longer vibrating at that same frequency of like the heavy earthy stuff. So everything feels lighter. You're able to see it literally like you've climbed up to the top of the mountain and you're looking at it and you're like, oh, all that little stuff. You know. So stories that I have in my past about who did what, about when, and and how I, even for myself, if I can look back at the Nicole from a year ago, the Nicole from 3 years ago, all that stuff, all the past Nicoles, I just didn't know. Like literally, I wasn't at this same point. I didn't have the same level of integration, understanding, wisdom, whatever you want to call it. So I just didn't know. And when you just go back to that, it's so easy to forgive. Like how can you be mad at somebody if they didn't know? And I think that's a huge part of self-forgiveness. And, you know, some people that I've read about before have said like, you can't forgive others until you've forgiven yourself. And I think that's more of not exactly a circumstantial thing, but a pattern of life. Like once you go down that life path of learning how to forgive yourself, then the forgiveness for other people opens wide up. It's like a big opening where you're like, oh, I've done this work on my own for myself about all the things that I perceived as, you know, my wrongdoings. And instead of calling them mistakes or like just not knowings, ignorances, naiveties, whatever you want to call it, once you can do it for yourself, it's just so much easier to do it for every other person on earth. It's like amazing how it opens things up. So I know I just said a lot, but
A lot of good stuff. You said a lot of good stuff, Nicole. You're so mighty. I'm so grateful for that rap because it's so important. Yeah, they just didn't know. I mean, it's like as grown-ups, like we just, at some point you start pretending you know because you're afraid of what will happen if you don't. You're just like, I'm just gonna
and
pretend.
you should know because you should know better. You know, it's like, well, should we? So over the summer, I did a training in Ho'oponopono. And that's like the whole practice of Ho'oponopono is forgiveness. And a lot of it was, you know, you say, I love you to the situation. And there's like 4 parts that you say. So it's, I love you. And you're saying it, I love you to the situation, all the people involved. Please forgive me, because if you can see it in another person that they've done something wrong, that's also in you. There's no way you can perceive it unless it's your own. So please forgive me kind of means please forgive all of us, because, you know, the reflection, both parts of us tugging on the same story. Please forgive me. Thank you to the divine for coming in and being willing to break apart the energy of that story. And so it's, I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. There's one more part. I forget what the other saying is in it. But just applying that to the stories, if you say it over and over and over again, it's amazing how it literally like dissolves the situation. And the I love you part, because that's such a high vibrational term, it shifts everything from being angry and hatey and resentful. It like just raises it up a little bit. It's kind of cool how just those words like, I love you, please forgive me. Like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. It's a magical practice. And I honestly, I encourage anybody who doesn't know anything about it to kind of take a look into some of the videos that might be online. And Dr. Hugh Lin is the man who did the Ho'oponopono that I learned. And it was interesting because I would listen to him talk and I was like, this guy's like out of touch with reality because he's so far on this other end of like forgiveness. And I was like, how does he not harbor anything? You know, like he doesn't seem to hold anything. He's just one of those clear vessels, like a yogi who's been practicing for a very long time and has gotten to samadhi. He just was like, everything just falls off of him. It's amazing. And I didn't really understand it, but now I understand it because it's like I'm feeling it inside of myself finally. And it's taken 8 months to do that, but I'm getting it and it's cool. That process is cool. And that's the other thing I want to say, Marie, about the time. You were talking a little bit, I heard you say something about in God's time. And I think that forgiveness and God's time should almost hardly ever leave a sentence that's spoken. Because I think when we put a time constraint on our forgiveness and think that we should be able to, or like that there's this like cooker of having to get it done in a certain period, in God's time, like when you are ready, then the forgiveness will come. So those are my 4 cents.
Beautiful. There's a generosity in God's time too. You get to learn the lessons. Like if you want to take a long time, or a short time, or whatever it is. I mean, I remember talking to my grandmother, and she would be talking about crap that happened 30 years ago that she was still upset about, and be like, God, this lady. It's like, what did that even happen? I remember being like 12 years old and be like, why are you telling me this? Did that even happen? Like that happened 15 years before I was even alive. So, this is the thing, is that it seems on some level in the old way of being somewhat trendy to hold resentments, or like, it's like you're holding your righteousness by holding somebody else accountable for something. And I think all of us, for sure, we get that that's just a ticket to hell, straight up. You're going to suffer. And yeah, my grandmother suffered. They suffered those generations, harboring that level of resentment. It's so unnatural. It's so unhealthy. Right now, what are your problems? And that's the goal, right? Is to get into the now. The Course would say that forgiveness is the goal of the spiritual curriculum, which is now. Just once you're in the now, there's that waving. I love that, Nicole. What a beautiful share. So true. I love you.
Marie, oh, I love you so much. I love all of you. The other thing I was thinking about, I think it was last week I listen to so many things where I'm like seeing you and Justin, so I don't always remember where all of the conversations come from. But I feel like in one of the conversations, and maybe you can remember which one it was, I think you were saying, like, ask, do I really need this right now? Were you saying that? Do I remember this? Like, do I need to hold this right now? Do I need this energy with me right now? Do I need to hold on to this thing? Why do I need to do this? Like, why? Do you remember that? Was that last Monday? I'm sorry, people that don't remember these things.
I hope I said that.
You did. I'm sure you did. I remember. So it's like, why hold on to it? Like, what is the value? And that's what I think you're saying about your grandmother. Like, what is the value in holding on to certain things? And sometimes it is this righteousness, like this feeling of like, well, that makes me feel like I was the one who was right in the situation or whatever. But really, anything you hold on to is the opposite of light. It's heavy, right? So it's the opposite of light and light and light, So the more you can let go of those things, the more you can rise. And so therefore asking that question, why am I holding on to this? Like, what does this do to serve me? And even in grief, like grief is a process, I think, of letting go of all those things, like what you've been going through, Marie. It's a huge letting go of feeling, or process of feeling. And what you realize on the other end of it too is like all those contracts that we have all these like little contracts with different people and the stories of like how our life is put together. And I think what it felt like when you were talking about your past week or so is just that those contracts, because you're shifting so much as who you are and you're letting in so much more light, all of those things have to break apart. But there's energy in those little, it's like how, atoms connect with each other. There's like energy in those little synapses. So as they break apart and dissolve, that feeling is the grief. It's the sorrow, like opening up. I can kind of see it in my mind's eye of like how all these little connectors go and then just fizzle out. But that's all the grief that you have to feel. But then after it's gone, it's like, oh, I'm not carrying that thing anymore. What an amazing feeling. Why did I ever hang on to that misery, that resentment, whatever it was, even the grief? It's crazy. Asking that question, like, why am I holding this?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So good. Forgiveness. Power. Nicole's got a good rap, doesn't she? I like her rap. We did a podcast. I love that. I'm going to put out that podcast. That was a good conversation we had. One of the other things I'm adding to my list now that I'm getting back structured, but not crazy structured. Deborah, did you want to share with us, darling, what's happening with you? How are you? Do you want to unmute yourself? You don't know how? Let me see if I can do it.
So lower left-hand corner of your screen.
It's a miracle. Is your volume turned up? I know you woke up early to be here too. I think you're in Australia or something. Oh. If you're on your phone, just make sure your volume's up.
Sometimes like the source of where your sound is coming from is different too. Like if you have your AirPods connected, or where'd she go?
Let's see if she wants to sort that out. Hello, Patrick. Hi. You're a new friend to me. Let's see if Deborah gets going and maybe we'll go to Patrick.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I've been listening for a long time to you and Justin and Charlie and Colleen, and I've been doing the Juice Fest with Josh end of last year. And yeah, I really love all your conversations and the songs. It's really nice. And what you were saying about the feelings, as I'm getting more lighter and clearer during the juice fasting, I noticed I'm getting so attached to the feelings. Like when I hold on to it, it helps me to survive in any kind of way. And an affirmation that helps me is I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my feelings. And in that, even in our language, we use I am angry. And then there is a conflict between the emotion and your true self, because the one is saying, I am not this, and the other one is saying, well, I am. And just in relaxing and saying, I am not my thoughts, I'm not my feelings, I can get back my own power and get connected to my true self by saying, I feel this. I feel, or it feels, I feel hurt. And no matter what anybody else is saying, they can deny that because it's a truth. I feel hurt. And then I can deal with the emotion instead of fighting with it.
Yeah, beautifully said, Patrick. I mean, it's true in that that's a way that our ego tries to trickle back in and
Yeah.
build this false construct and get us to identify with these thoughts and these feelings. And, you know, Marie, you touched on people holding on to resentment for 15, 30 years. Like, that's because they've built their identity around this false construct, and it has to be, in order for that false construct to live, that egoic led entity, it has to hold on to these thoughts and feelings as if it is it, instead of realizing that we are the observer, we are the thing outside of that. We are not none of those things. So yeah, well said, Patrick. Thank you for that.
And even in going higher, like in the observer role, you disconnect in some kind of way. And last week, sometimes I can just laugh at myself, like what I'm doing, because when you go in the ego in your mind, you can. It's like you're fighting and running in your own circle. And when you step outside and you look down on who is doing this, who is feeling this, it sometimes is just hilarious to see how caught up you can get in stuff instead of knowing, well, it's just passing through.
Beautiful. It's just passing through. Patrick, that's so amazing. Where are you from? Just real quick, I want to know.
Netherlands.
Netherlands. Wow. Thank you for being here. Nicole, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to bounce off of what Justin and Patrick were just saying. I think the healing work that I do with people is I do a lot of inner child work. And so very often those stories that the ego is telling us, that like bouncing back and forth, the work that I do, I've noticed that it's often a little inner voice from a little old inner child inside of us that's wanting us to heal something. And so I think you said, Patrick, I forget exactly how you said it, because I was thinking as I was listening, or actually this like message was coming through as you were talking, but asking like, not just who is it that's saying this, but like, what is the little voice inside of me? Like what Nicole or what Patrick or what Marie, like what part of me is calling out? Like, is there a part of me that's calling out from way back when, this little inner voice that needs something? Because so often I think those issues that come up and those attachments that we get, those little, like those connectors that I was talking about, they are these little things that have formed when we were way younger, you know, like 5, 3, 2. So going in and saying like, okay, so who is that? Like, what was the little part of me maybe that was calling out for something at that time, didn't get the need addressed at the time, and is now doing this thing that's happening in my life in this current moment to trigger it again, which is the asking of the healing of that little girl or boy that was inside of us. So kind of like, I do like the idea of looking down at it and laughing if you can get to that point and being like, oh God, that's so silly. I think sometimes that's appropriate. But I think sometimes for me and for people I've had a lot of conversations with, it's a matter of it being an ask from a deeper part of us, like from a deeper part of our soul for healing. And so that sometimes breaks apart that dynamic of thinking it's real. You remember, Marie, before you were saying like fear is not real. It's real to a degree, but it's not a truth. And so if you can get back to like the mistaked person, or like the naive child that didn't know any better, that believed a story back then, is reigniting that story in the current moment, you can heal on these like real deep soul levels. So there is like definitely I think a way to be able to handle it and deal with it on a here and now moment. But there are also deep opportunities there that I just want to bring that up. I feel like I need to bring it up. I feel like I'm being guided to speak right now, to not bypass those things by just trying to feel better or just trying to like know past it. But when necessary or when appropriate, take the time to dive into those a little bit deeper and get the real gold out of it. Like get down there and get the real juice, you know, those last little juice drops of goodness that's inside of there. I felt like I needed to say that. Sorry.
You don't ever have to be sorry, because it is so important. I'm calling myself out. I mean, I'm like a queen bypasser. I love to help others. I don't want to deal with my own stuff. I'm really good.
But that's because you want to feel good,
or stay busy, or But this is important. Like, let's extract the juice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Marie, that's because we want to feel good. We always want to feel good. So we're like, okay, how can I get to feeling better? How can I get to feeling better?
Internet wise?
Yeah, you froze up, Marie.
Are we good?
I think everyone else is good. Marie, are you still there? Justin, you're there. Deborah?
Yeah, I was just going to say, with Marie is stuck in La La Land in Mexico, you know, it's like that thing that Tony Robbins talks about, the story we tell ourselves, you know. Is Debbie, are you able to talk? Are you loud?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you go, so go on.
Oh,
Talk,
can you hear
Debbie.
me now?
Yes, we can, yeah. Go.
Oh, okay, because I can only see one person at a time. I'm like finding Nemo. I'm Dory. I don't know much about what to press and touch, but if you can hear me, that's great. Okay. Oh gosh. Well, prior to the last few times I've watched in and looked in, I probably would have got some massive stories to tell, but I feel like I don't want to be a victim, even though for such a long time I actually felt I was, and the world told me I was too. But the inner work on me was, like what a lot of other people are saying, is that my drive was to always be the fixer and the doer and the martyr and the I'll have to help everyone and see everyone else through whatever's going on within my own immediate family, with my partners and children, to your extended family, to your friends. And I think part of my journey has been working out why I devalued myself so much. And I'm not really a person to hold on to having these feelings of I don't want to say the word hate, but with the things that have gone on, it's sort of like you go to bed at night, it sort of all feels like it gets washed away, and the next day you start again. But if the same things keep happening, you sort of have to make some decisions instead of just allowing it to keep going on. And the other thing I think I've realised in the past year, which is like a light bulb moment, is what a wonderful energy source I was to certain types of personality types, let's call them. I'm not sure how this is all sounding, but I'm just like, yeah, so here I am. And yeah, and for the first time, like I turned 50 this year, so I'm alone and allowed to be processing my own thoughts. I have 5 children. I've been single for over 5 years, and I don't feel like I need anything or anyone, and that I just have been doing the work on myself, whether consciously or unconsciously.
I think that's beautiful. I mean, thank you for sharing. It's 5 children. Yeah, I can imagine you need some space. It's like, just to process and just
Well,
to kind of
yeah, it sort of happened for me because I kept on staying in the madness and kept on accepting whatever was thrown my way, literally. So that I know Siobhan knows because we've spoken, but it actually happened on election night that yeah, I had a rather big evening, and my children blindsided me by attacking me for 4 hours, and we had to part company. I'm separated from their dad, and he's got a very strong, big personality. So yeah, it's been hard to deal with, but I see them when they want me now instead of me being there. They're culturally different to me too. They're Greek, and so the mother is the martyr and should sacrifice everything for their happiness and benefit. So yeah, I'm just enjoying having a lot of these moments now, not being pressurized and pulled in all these different directions for anyone's daily needs and wants. To just be, which I've never been. It's been look, when I left their dad, I had to go with the help of the police with the children. We were in a women's refuge, and it's funny that even the children say, like, you know, when was some of the best times of their life? They say when we were in the women's refuge, and I say that's because we were safe from all these toxic energies that were not validating anything we were saying for years. I mean, even now, I haven't actually seen a professional about everything that's gone on and has actually continued gone on, because I've held up the olive branch that this person says he's not any of those things anymore, but it continues because I want to be forgiving, but sometimes it's quite dangerous. So it's a bit of a tricky situation, but since so where are we now? It's the 2nd of March here. So from the 4th of November, I've had quite a lot of time to process things, because even from the 5.5 years ago, I've only seen a counsellor once, because that's all the time I had for myself. And she said I've been from this one visit, and what I've got to get out, because you don't really know them, you don't really say a lot, you just say a bit. She said that I've been in hypervigilance for about 15 years with this domestic situation. So I'm enjoying being allowed to, because I wasn't allowed to be sad or sick or anything, just to be a servant, really. So I've been really enjoying things, and it's like, how weird is it the way things panned out, that it wasn't me having to say, look, I can't cope, that you it's all too much for me. It was just sort of, it's like the universe just saying, you need a break now, and this might be the catalyst. And it just happened, and I didn't understand it, and I was shocked. But sadly, my younger 3 children, so I was brought up a Jehovah's Witness until I was about 23. I broke free from that. You know, upsetting family members has obviously been a forte of mine. Oh gosh, so I've had very limited, I don't know what this is, male interaction skills, let's say. So like, you marry your first boyfriend, he turns out to be a swinging womanizing person, and then you go, oh, I might try and have a one night stand, then I end up with this Greek guy for all these years. So and have 3 more children. So yeah, it's been interesting. But I think because of all the suffering and the hurt, and no one, because you're isolated, to get you, or you think they get you, but they don't validate you in the way, well, like, if you're going to make a stand, would back you up. I'm talking about family members here. Yeah, you have to dig deep inside yourself. And I can only say that where I am now is because I only had me to go in and go, well, okay, you know. And I do struggle a bit with that it's me that's brought all this on myself. but I take it on board. And I'm open to it all. Obviously, I've had an open mind most of my life, so nothing really does shock me. But there you go. That's the starters.
Wow, thank you. Let's just all give her a big fat virtual hug. Big hugs. Big hugs for all that. You know, it's something that happens at some point in our lives when we wake up and we're like, what is going on? I resonated with different parts of that. And I know Nicole and all of us, you know, can feel threads of your story in our own. And so it takes a lot of courage to share it. And if you ever want to go deeper, there's a whole bunch of people here that would love to get on the phone and talk to you even more, because I'm fascinated by that story. I'd like to dig and ask a bunch of questions. But here's the thing. What you said was so powerful, was that it just seemed like the universe kind of said, you need a break. And this just happened. And those are the miracles that I love to focus on, when things happen in our lives and it's like, wow, that was something. That was something divine planning. And that's where I really want to go more and more. I love to be in that vibration of just like watching things occur, watching people come, watching people go, kind of staying, I think Nicole said, you know, a little bit above it, and I love what you said about having all this space to kind of process, because we get to a certain point in our adult life and we're like, a lot has happened.
Yeah, and because my especially so there's a 10-year gap between my kids, so I thought I had, you know, the Christian Jehovah's Witness perfect marriage. I had a girl and a boy. Life was, well, I thought it was great, but I was so naive. I've been naive to being deceived pretty much my whole life, and it's only now in the last year, but even more so in the months, that I've gone, wow, that's a lot of people that have come at me was to play this game of, she's so sweet and kind, and I'm such a deceiving, evil person. And they onboard me with their woes and troubles, and Mrs. Fix-It here is like, yes, we can do it. Yes, I'll help you. Oh, did you know this? And blah, 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 blah. Because I've always, I feel like you've just said a bit earlier about helping everyone else. It feels natural. I wouldn't say so much it feels good, because sometimes it's exhausting, but it does stop you from looking at helping yourself.
Totally.
Being busy, which I think I said to you the other week when, well, I really didn't have the guts to come on here, but I also was just like, oh, you know, I've been so into everything that's been going on for a year, and this podcast and that podcast and catching up, and my 3 younger kids are really demanding, and they're not even young anymore. They're like teenagers, so they're like they're 14, 15 and 16, so they're at that real age where you go, oh my god, I can't stand what they're into, I can't stand all the social media, I can't stand TikTok, I can't stand what they want to wear, I can't stand what matters in their minds. Yeah, so yeah.
You're scaring us.
Why?
It's going to be okay. The teenage years.
What was interesting for me is that I already had 2 children, and I went through the teenage years with the psychopath, right? Trying to keep everything, the house perfect, the hotel stocked. I had 8 people living in the house non-stop, and I had 3 children in 3 years. So with the Greek guy, the one night stand that didn't end. I had 3 children in 3 years, 2004, 2005, 2006, and all this crazy and nonsense. It was just continual. And there never was much of a breather. So I sort of sometimes think that the not thinking maybe saved me as well, because I didn't get a chance to go too far into anything before there was another bam every day or multiple times a day. But I think sometimes too, people that have had a really rough trot or hard time, that they do make fun of it. And I think that's a way of getting through it as well. Like you could write a comedy skit about the level of nonsense and stupidity and fuckery and whatever else. You just go, oh my God. But yeah, so my 3 teenage daughters have been demanding my whole life. So just having a cup of tea at the crack of dawn before they got up, because once they got up, it's unlike Donkey Kong. Even now to their ages now.
Deborah, I was
Nicole
just
wants
going
to-
to say, yeah, I just want to, that you have said so much. So there's like so much to talk about in what you've said. So much of that is like the empath narcissist dynamic, which ultimately when you heal that breaks down to boundary work. And even what you're talking about with your teenagers, and it's so much about boundary work. And I've done exactly like your story and my story are like, it's like ungodly how similar they are. But once you get into that work a little bit deeper, first of all, it's self-forgiveness, because you didn't know until you know. Like we just don't know until we know, right? So there's this level of healing that's going to have to happen where you get to a point where you're like, I didn't know. I was doing what I have grown up doing my whole life. For me, it goes back to that inner child thing I've been doing since I was a little girl. That pleaser thing, the pleasing everyone, meeting everyone's needs before they even know what their needs are. It's the empath in you that does that. So once you can do your healing work and then figure out, oh my God, this empathic thing that I have about me is a God-given gift, so that I can feel into the community around me, the people around me, the world around me, and help transmute some of that energy and make it a better place. But before I do any of that outside stuff, I have to pull my boundaries so far in. You have to put yourself in this like teeny little like egg is how I'm picturing it. Remember Mork and Mindy? Mork used to go into his egg. You need to get into your egg, and you need to you need to stay in your egg for like 6 good months at least, and just do you. And it doesn't matter what those kids are facing right now. Like if they hate you, whatever, they're going to get over it. But like you have to pull all your energy back to you. And it's a self-forgiveness thing first. Forgive yourself for not knowing. Forgive yourself for not understanding your gifts. You are misusing God-given gifts that are beautiful and magnificent inside of you. You just were using them in a toxic way, but you were also using them in a toxic world. So how could you not have used them in a toxic way? We don't know until we know, right? Now it's your job to know better. Yeah. So take back your power, take back the control over those gifts, and give yourself all that stuff that you gave to everybody else, so that you start to feel what it feels like to nurture you. And then once you start to fill up, you're going to start to fill up your vessel so much that you're going to understand, like you're going to understand. Sorry, Charlie. You're going to understand your own power and your own divinity and your own gift so much that all of that other stuff is going to fall away, and it's going to transmute on its own. It's going to morph. And so I have to say this to you right now, because I feel like God is telling me to say it to you. There's just so much healing that's ahead of you. And that's why God broke that and gave you this time of silence. It was a God-given gift for you to have this space. And space is always our greatest gift, right? Space is where light can come in. So let yourself off the hook for all that stuff, and just be really excited about where you're going.
When I wanted to have boundaries, and I wanted to put some of the onus back on everybody else, that I'm not responsible for your school bag, your bathers, whatever it is you need on the daily. But because of being in this toxic situation with the second partner for so long, the children had learnt that, these are the weapons that we'll use, because when Dad's done all that, she does it to stop the eruptions going on. So enabling at the same time, and I get all that. But when I would try and lay some boundaries, the attacks were so much worse, and even from the children. But
you still have to maintain them. It's
well,
like
I did.
Yeah.
I stood up for myself, and that felt unusual. Because I'm normally I'll give in. I used to, when I try to tell people, and people have come in to me at the right times, because obviously the universe knew who I needed, with, you know, similar stories. I mean, we didn't know them at first, but now we know why we magnetized to each other, and they have as equally shocking ones. But I just feel like, because of maybe my upbringing, it was always to be forgiving, turn the other cheek. And with most of the stuff that's long term and so gone on for so long, I used to say, I felt like, you know, at the fair with the laughing clowns, and you got to put the ball in the mouth. I felt like I was just like, turn the other cheek, and it wasn't self-respectful.
May I say,
Wow. Patrick, go ahead.
I've been the last few weeks doing a challenge with is you continue asking yourself, what would someone who loves themselves do? And it helps me a lot to get out of the pleasing mentality, because it reflects firstly back to me as, am I loving myself in this situation? And it gives an opportunity to make a whole different choice and look from a different angle than being the empath who is always trying to help the other first and then look if there's still some place for me left.
Yeah, there was never any place for me. But there is now. It's all in the past. Just some moments of time.
Wow. Deborah, thank you for that. Nicole, did you want to say what? And Patrick, that's such an important line. What would someone who loves themselves do? Is that what you said? That was really, wow. Because that's what we're learning to do. We've been really distracted, and it's been a lot. It just sounds like so much to break through. Nicole, did you want to say something?
Yeah, so one of my friends who I do some podcasting and stuff with, she has this victim, martyr, aggressor. Have you heard that triangulation, victim, martyr, aggressor syndrome? So it's like you're kind of always falling somewhere in between the story of being the victim, the martyr, or the aggressor in anything that there is in life. So whether it's the political landscape right now, masking, relationships, whatever it is, where do you fall in that triangle? Right. And no matter what happens in that triangle, we tend to move around. Like we just become one or the other of those things in any given situation. So many of us like to stay in martyr because that feels so good. Right. But when you're the martyr, somebody else has to be the victim or the aggressor, right? Like there's like, no matter which picture or part of the picture you choose, you're still holding space for that dynamic to be there. So the answer to it is love. The answer to it is to go to forgiveness, to peace, and to love, and to dissolve that situation to begin with. So I'm just trying to bring it back to the forgiveness part. Like if we can forgive ourselves and see ourselves in that little triangulation, like where are you in your situation? And do you want to be that person? Do you really want to be the martyr? Because that's a lot of work. Do you really want to be the victim? That feels like crap. Do you want to be the aggressor? Well, I don't want to be I'm not an aggressive person. I don't want to be that either. So do I want this thing to continue, or do I want it to dissolve? I want it to dissolve. What does that mean? That means I have to pull out my energy. I have to no longer be doing that behavior, thinking that thought, having that belief system, whatever it is that's got me locked into that story. I need to pull myself out and do something different. I need to go to a different place, walk, go read a book. I don't know, whatever it is. I need to get myself out of that story, change the energy of it so that I'm no longer feeding that story. I have to go. I'm going to be back in just a second, but I did want to pop that in before I run. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. Sorry. I'll still be listening. Okay.
I think that's a really important one. I know you mamas got to pick up kids and do stuff. So you come in and you go. Wow. Wow, Deborah. You got a lot of curriculum there.
It's okay. It's okay because just sorry, the lady that was just on a second ago, what's her name?
Nicole.
Yeah, she's right. But I don't want to put a label on myself or and I know, yeah, I get what she was saying with that because to be quite honest, I don't want to talk about it at all sometimes. But then do I go into a place where I'm not talking about it at all? I don't want to go back there. But is that another part of me of avoiding? Just move on. It's a new day. Forget that crap.
Well, I think you're in the process of healing some stuff. So it's important that you talk about it. I mean, I worked with a coach, bi-weekly for many, many years, like 15 years maybe. So I can see the value in having someone that you trust and that you love, that you can process some of, like, this happened and I don't understand, and I'm trying to sort out how to learn my lessons from it so that I don't recreate that situation. So I think that's a really important thing. And I love how you're holding it. Like, you're like kind of dancing with it. You're like, do I talk about this? Do I not talk about this? Like, definitely love my space. I still have some things. Relationships last forever as long as they exist within our minds. So it really does come down to, at least in my understanding of how, when I think of this person, how do I feel? And I want to make sure that if someone comes into my awareness, I don't dip into resentment or to heavy feelings. Because if I do, then that means there's still more to be healed. That's how I would hold it. And that's what was happening earlier in my story with the grief and processing, my husband passing away, and all of the things that had happened since then, and then business partners leaving, and like just all of the life's content. We often think that life is a performance, and we act as if it's a performance. But if you ask me, life is a school. Life is a school. We're here to learn, and we're trying to, like, figure things out. And this is the type of school where you get to decide who's your teacher. Is your teacher loving and kind and generous and nurturing, offering correction, or is your teacher critical and judgmental and forceful? And we've all had both kinds of teachers, hopefully. Really, I pray, because I know a lot of people that didn't have kind and loving teachers in their lives or examples as children. And so this is part of what we're all healing from, is how to process our life. We've woken up to so much. I mean, that it's like, gosh, pick a topic, and we can all come up with a whole list of resentments and upset around this situation. So it's a lot. And I think that that's really what I wanted these calls to be about, for people to come and to share and to say, hey, look, this is some of the stuff on my heart. And time, maybe once a week, where I could just have like calls day or coaching day private. So and I know that Carmi is open to that as well. And I Nicole, you have also shared too. So if anyone who watches these, is like, what, this happened. And I mean, just the Jehovah's Witness aspect of that, like, I would love to dive into that, like just the teenage daughters aspect, like there's a lot of content here. And what we would want to do is just to take it like we are in this movement, from dark to light.
Yes.
That's what this is about. Yeah, did you love that? So, reach out. And if you're watching this on a replay, it's the same with Deborah and with anyone. I would like to offer some time. I think I might do Thursdays for a couple hours a day, and just get on the phone with anyone who wants to do that. And if you want to make a contribution, great. And if you don't, that's fine too. But yeah, so let's keep this conversation going, because I do find that, like I said with Carmi, her holding the space for me was so healing. And we are not alone. We are often doing some really, really deep, heavy lifting. And, we're brothers and sisters. We're meant to help each other. We're meant to support each other. We're meant to, offer hands. And so much of our healing is dependent on us actually asking for support and being worthy of it and deserving it, and saying, not that I'm going to do this by myself, or I'm just going to avoid it, or I can't talk about this, or whatever, because that, again, just kind of keeps it lingering for a little bit longer. And that's so powerful. Nicole's just posting in our group, when two or more gathered, I am there, God is there. That's what Christ said to us. And that's really, really beautiful work. And I think that sometimes it is important to have some one-on-one time and really dive into your life experience and look at them. Otherwise, they manifest, again, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, as density. So now is the time to do our work. Really, really good. Oh, cool. All right, let me
I think
see.
Kira said she had something to share.
Yeah, go for it.
Or she-
Kira.
or she-
Am I unmuted?
yeah.
You can hear me. Okay, great. Hello, all you beautiful people.
Hello.
I want to just add first to Marie. After I say this little piece, I want to say, I really would love to hear your 8 keys for healing, you know,
Yeah.
because it sounds like it's powerful alchemy that we need in our tool belt. So just after I speak, would you talk about that for a minute? Because that sounds really, really juicy. Okay, so I want to introduce a slightly different subject, and I would like to talk about the mystical and magical side of this journey. Because, yeah, we all have our stuff to process, but initiating this juice feast together, what we are all creating is a lot of magic and adding a lot to our power. And we can step into the archetypes that we may not yet had felt comfortable with, the wizard of the violet flame, the master of Ho'oponopono. And we're all grieving the old 3D world. We're all grieving that we're leaving that behind, all the fantasies, all the programs, all the things that we thought we were supposed to be, the princess in the castle and all of that stuff. We're grieving it big time. I used ghost pipe essence, and I sit there, and this whole year I've like cried my freaking heart out every day, grieving all the shit that had to be grieved because I want ascension. And so I got to say goodbye, baby. I'm saying goodbye to all that. And so all that's coming up in our scenes in when we do our Ho'opono is the part we played in the 3D movie. So yeah, we did that. We were really, really good at it, but it's duality, and duality sucks. And so now we're shifting into being proactive magicians and no longer reactive to all the weirdness that's going on in that land. And so I just want to say really quickly that I am so grateful to have found people that don't want to hold themselves back any longer, because we realize the futility that we cannot get what we want in 3D. It's not there for us. That was an illusion. That was the smoke and mirrors that trapped us in there. The only way we're going to create the life of our dreams is to let it go fully and follow what Charlie says, is you give yourself 100% to God, because that's where the magic is. If you've still got one foot out, you're going to still be in suffering. So I really got that. And I want to say that the group that we started, Kazri and I, it's not a juicing group. It's a mystical group that's using juice or the Garden of Eden diet as a carrier, as plant medicine into conscious contact with divine mind, to go deep into the shamanic, spiritual, Christic ascension initiations. That's what this journey is all about. I see your face that you're happy with this flow from me, because, this is why I spend 3 hours a day watching videos from all you people, because I'm saying, yeah, bring it. Let's create a standing wave that we can all ride. And that's why it's called surfing higher. We create this wave, and the juice and the plant medicine carries us. And, I want to also just put in something that we can do to be in magic, and that is to experiment with mono fruits, because when you can identify the personal resonance and frequency of that fruit, you can tune into its plant medicine and have a mystical experience with it that is deep and profound, that it will take you on a journey. And so what we're at the crossroads of is trading up big time for all the old paltry things of the matrix, and trading up into this expanded reality where the trees and the plants are giving us wisdom and intel, and we're in divine gnosis because we purified and opened up to it. So that's what I have to share today.
I mean, seriously.
Fucking A.
Oh, there it is from Siobhan. Wow, Kira. Okay. Yeah. Nicole, the hummingbird is my logo, used to be my logo, the little golden hummingbird. Kira, exactly, 100%. Everybody here, just, and everybody live and everybody who's going to watch this in the future is going to bow in gratitude for that riff, because that is what it is. That is the grief too, is unplugging from this thing that has just been total insanity, and returning to our mother and letting her feed us and resonating with her beautiful fruits. And wow, it's so powerful. I ate a mango yesterday and literally felt like I took acid. I was like, oh my God, this mango. I was like running around like, this mango is so, I was crying. We would have these moments, Amber, we would drink a coconut and just be like, oh my God, the Coke. So it's true. It's just so, yes. Wow. Thank you. And I do want to give you the 8 keys. Unless anybody wants to say anything, we'll close with that. And Siobhan's going to sing us Carrie today. Whew.
I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you to Kira because that was just like, whew, that was just so much truth in one like 2-minute block or whatever it was. That was just so powerful and poignant and beautiful. I just loved it. I wanted to say really quick, like you're saying about the mango, I haven't done mono juicing yet. Like I keep still mixing my juices and that's like what we've done as a family. But I was sitting here the other day in the sunlight and I have this like beautiful sunny spot that I sit and like drink my sun, or drink, I said drink my sun. Did you hear that? I just said drink my sun, but I do. I drink my sun in the sun. And I was like, just kind of, you know, like chewing your liquids thing. So I was enjoying the taste of it on my tongue and I was identifying all of the different fruits that were in my juice. Like I could taste the carrot and I could taste, you know, like I could taste every little bit. And I was like, God, I used to do this with wine. Like I used to try to figure out what was in my wine. That was like not even as good. Like all the things that I expected were that good are so much better in this magical world that Kira is talking about. Like literally every single thing is better on this side of it. So it's weird because you would think, oh, I don't need to grieve the dissolution of the 3D. But I think it goes back to those little connectors that I was talking about before. As they break apart, there just is grief that's held in there. It's like when you're doing yoga and you're stretching and an emotion comes up. And maybe we're labeling it as grief, but I don't even know if it is grief. Maybe it's just tension. Like, it's just like when you do yoga and you release the tension, you know, like maybe we're just releasing the tension of every little thing that we break, every little connection that we have with that old 3D matrix. As we break it, there's a tension that releases and we're like, oh my God, that felt really like, whoa, a lot. But maybe I'm going to try now to change that and try to see if I can taste the flavor of that tension release as not grief and see what happens. That's just going to be my challenge for myself. Like, is it really grief or am I misnaming it?
Why don't we just look at it as love and fear?
Yeah, there's a good one. Getting rid of the fear. That's exactly what it is then. We're releasing the fear to let in room for love.
Light and dark,
Yeah.
light and dark. That's dark,
Beautiful.
that's going.
Beautiful.
Sometimes you do need to know more, and sometimes a memory will come intuitively. Oh, that's what this is about. That's great journaling. That's great content. That's like what we were talking about with Deborah too. That's how I would hold it. Like, that's how I have been holding it. Like, oh, because memories are coming. And, you know, Amber said that too, as you start juicing like this, like you're going to remember this maybe traumatic experience that happened, or you're going to remember a joy or something, whatever it is that's happening in this consciousness, expansive, you know, incredible journey to joy. You know, that's a part, that's what this is. It's beautiful. And all of it's beautiful. Even the stuff that we call grief and tension and fear and discomfort. It's all just all good. It's all a part of it and it's all good. Cheers to all of you. Cheers to all of you. And I want to give you this tool before we come to the close of the show, because I know that for this particular experience with juicing, I've come up with some commitment issues. So the purpose of this tool is really to support us in clarity and direction and to be committed, you know, to this journey. And so the first bit that we would want to do, so if you guys want to write it down or if you want to come back to this or whatever, and there's also a video on my YouTube channel and it's 4 parts. It's module 1. So if you want to revisit, there's a lot of information. I know Siobhan has done it before, and there's been a few people that had gone through it. You know, Deborah, this would be a great tool just to, like, you know, do one on your relationship to yourself. So the function of the tool is just to support you on clarity and direction on any relationship. And this juice feast, if you're doing it this time around, is a relationship.
Yes. I started on the frugivore. I just went, bam, I'm doing it. And did the mono juice. I actually started with the quinine, making that, and well, I made quite a couple of batches at least, and gave them to all these older ladies,
Yeah.
and people I knew that I thought, oh, this is going to really help you, because they were in the fear of the cough, I call it. Sadly, I didn't realise that because it's natural, it could also actually harm them, and some of them were on heart medications, which isn't funny, but they survived. It was okay. So I feel like it was blessed, and it was all going to be good. But my thing is that my best friend and my crutch has been smoking. So I've been frugivore. We were trying to work out yesterday with Sophia, one of my daughters, how long I've been doing this. And I think it's October, but I might just have banana, apple, but just orange juice mainly. And maybe what I find is a really good juice, just quickly, is when I do the quinine, is the grapefruit juice and then the lemon juice, and then cooking the skins. Add that juice into orange juice, and it's like a power juice, because I'm so naive. I've never had an energy drink, but I imagine that's what it's like. Yeah, and it's really, for me, it's good. So for me, this juicing, the juicy juice thing, is for just you stay on track and talk about how you're feeling and what you're substituting or whatever. But in my mind, I'm doing it to stop my old best friend, the cigarettes, being my crutch.
I feel you. I used to do that one too. So we can talk. Let's talk. But that's a really good juice. And the group, the Surfing Higher group, Kira and Kazri's group, I'm sure there's going to be lots of sharing of recipes and things like that, and experiences of what you're learning and how it's going. But the first tool, the first key is expectations. So let's just say you're going to do this for the next 21 days. What are your expectations? Just write them down. You know, if you're having a hard time, just choose 3. I expect to feel healthy. I expect to give up smoking. I expect to have support from the group. Expectations sometimes, not sometimes, but they're subconscious, and a lot of people don't want to deal with expectations. But if you don't really look at them, then you end up just having all sorts of disappointments. So it's really healthy to actually be like, you know what, these are my expectations. I'm going to write them down. The second key, so the first is expectations. The second one is purpose. What's your purpose for going on this juice feast? If you're doing it for the juice feasting, if you're doing it for, you know, your relationship to your job, what's the purpose of this job? If you're doing it for your marriage, what's the purpose of this marriage? If you're doing it with yourself, what's the purpose of being in relationship to yourself, to your higher self? Deborah, did you have something?
Yes, well,
Yeah.
I was going to say, because of the past, I've never actually had expectation. I've never actually even had a goal. But it was good that you said my expectation is to quit smoking, because I was thought, oh, what can my expectation be? But the other bit, sorry, I've lost my train of thought here about the last thing you just said about, oh, yes, so the reason why I started doing the juicing is because I do know that I am spiritually connected, and through all the nonsense was also, but I just want to go higher with it.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. That's where we're home.
Yeah.
So your purpose is important and grounding, to have a purpose statement. So my purpose for doing this juice fast is to be healthy and happy and detoxified so that I can be of service in the world and have a beautiful life. You know, your purpose. The third key are your wants. I want to drink 3 liters of juice every day. I want to get my juice planned, you know, the day before. Wants are like dreams, visions, goals. What are some of the things that you want to get going? I want to do this. I want to do that. A lot of this is happening in our psyche. And this is an opportunity to just like start to look at it really clearly. What do you want as it relates to this relationship that you're working on? Okay. And the fourth one is, what are your needs? You know, do you need to get up a little earlier? Do you need to take care of your rest? Do you need to let go of maybe some work? Do you need to share some of your responsibilities? Needs are non-negotiable for your spiritual, emotional, physical well-being. A lot of people confuse wants and needs. Needs are like essential. Like I need to detox. It's not something I want it too, but it's like I need it. I need to do. I can tell. I need to get my kidneys filtering. I need to. I have, you know, eczema issues. You know, I need. This is a need. It's essential for my physical well-being. Do you see the difference? Okay.
Needs, commitment.
And then the fifth key are your fears. And Kira, if you have any questions, you just pop in here too. What are your fears around this juice feast or around the relationship with yourself? I'm afraid I will be hungry. I'm afraid I won't be able to do it. I'm afraid I'll lose my concentration. I'm afraid it's too hard. Don't be ashamed. Just put it out there. What are your fears? Fears are often false evidence appearing real. Kira, I'm afraid to be God. I'm afraid to have that much light. Me too, Kira. That was one of mine. I am afraid, like, am I really worth this much light? Like, how do I exist in the world of illusions like this? Like, people think I'm totally crazy. I'm having a meltdown about a mango in public. I'm afraid to have that much light. These are the common ones anymore. I broke through. Great, but that one held me back. Super. So what you would do then, after you get those first 5 written down, is you would go back up to your expectations and you would look at each one of those expectations. And you would ask, is this something that I want? Is this something that I need? Is this something I'm afraid of? We want to move out of expectation and just recategorize those somewhere else. Want, need, and fear. So if I expect to lose weight, maybe somebody has the expectation they're going to lose weight. Is that you ask yourself, do I want that? Do I need that? Am I afraid of that? What's going on here? You're digging. It's kind of what Nicole was talking about earlier. Kind of like, what do I really want? You're getting to know yourself, right? Isn't the whole point to know yourself, know thyself? We're trying to get through the criticism to the teacher. The critic is loud. God is the small, still voice. And then maybe look back at your purpose, see if you want to refine that purpose statement a little bit. And there's a whole like video on this on the YouTube channel. It's module 1, because I know I'm going pretty quick through. Your wants, what do you want? So if one of the wants was, somebody give me a want. What is something one of you want?
To feel lighter.
To feel lighter. I want to feel lighter. All right, so what can you do to make sure that happens?
Well, I'm hoping that the fruits are going to do it. I mean, light in body and spirit and mind, and I'd love mental clarity. You know what I mean, and confidence to be able to speak. I don't speak half the time because I'm worrying about it coming out the right way. You know what I mean? So I think when I'm feeling light, when I that confidence comes with the lightness, and then you're not thinking about not saying it the right way because you're already in that space where you're feeling more confident. I don't know, you know what I mean? But light in every way. You frozen?
So because of that, we are going through reason.
It's very hard to hear. Hang on, I'll mute.
I good? Yeah. Okay. So it's about looking at that want, which is to be lighter. I heard a few there. To maybe stop filtering myself. For each one of those wants, you want to create a goal. So if I want to feel lighter, I want to make sure that I manifest this want, this vision, this dream that I have. So I'm going to do this juice feast. I'm going to drink this juice. If I'm not feeling light, I will rest. I will go for a walk in nature. I will reach out to a friend. So you want to really support yourself with some action items, like some things you can actually do to make sure you get what you want. There's nothing more frustrating than wanting something and not getting it. And not getting it based on you not doing what you need to do to get it, right? Just kind of having this like, well, it's going to happen. The fruit's going to do it. The fruit is going to do it, but you got to do the fruit. Right? And it might take a minute. But in my experience, it's actually been quite like immediate. Like, wow. This stuff is
you can't do that.
all right.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. And I'm so gung-ho for this today, and I'm so positive, and I'm just laughing because tomorrow could be a totally different thing, but I'm so gung-ho for this. I really am. So
So do you want to be present? Do you want to go day by day?
yes, definitely. Yeah.
So I'm going to go day by day.
Yeah.
You focus on today. Maybe you're going to prepare for tomorrow, so that you have your thing, so that you can set it up, just so that it's easier for yourself, right?
Yeah, lists and ticking them off really works for me. Yeah.
Creative, getting on board. So those are some of the things that you're going to do with your wants. You're going to get some action items prepared. I want to schedule, I want to go and like kind of be like, okay, these are the juices I'm doing today. Needs, you shift into operating instructions. Operating instructions, like I need to, what's somebody's need? What's something that someone needs as it relates to this journey?
For me, I think one of the needs I encountered in the juice fast last year is keeping my body temperature high, because I felt a lot of cold sometimes, and that's one thing I'm still working out on how to deal with that, and that definitely feels like something I need to do to get through it in a good way.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for sharing. That's really powerful. And then there's another one here. I need to have energy. So let's address both of those. So I need to keep my body temperature high. So I will then maybe adding some spices to your juices, maybe some cinnamon, some clove. I know Amber was really big on adding cinnamon to watermelon juice. Cinnamon is really warming. So maybe doing some research. So I will research warming spices. I will, take a hot tub in the morning and at night. I will wear extra clothes. What else could you?
Can you drink hot teas like for the juicing, like herbal teas, hot stuff? Like, is that doable?
I think so. Kira, do you have anything on that? Warm water with lemon and cayenne. Exercise. I make kidney tea. Breath work. Fantastic, Nicole. I will do some breath work. Huge. Oh my gosh. Breath work. There's a couple yoga classes on my YouTube channel. There's tons of stuff online too. Maybe we could do something like that, like a group breath session. Yeah. How do those sound? There's a handful there, and let us know how they work, because then it's like those are your operating instructions. That's just what you do because you need to make sure you keep your temperature higher. So you're going to add more clothing, drink warm teas, take a tub, do breath work, research spices. Got it? Let us know how that goes. And then with fears, also, what are your goals? How can you take this fear and shift it to light? Who has a fear that they want to offer real quick? We're just going to stay on for a few more minutes. Go ahead, Siobhan.
Since no one else is, yeah, I mean, fear that I'll be weak and not do it for the 3 weeks. You know what I mean? That's just like a beating myself up. I know that is that. That's why I need to do it day by day, and just not project too much. You know.
3 days is awesome. Whatever you can do, like, it's awesome. Again, don't let your critic take over the juice feast. You couldn't do it. It's like you're going, it's inevitable. You can be patient because the end is short. Like it's inevitable you're going to get to Frugivore. It's inevitable you're going to go through a long-term juice feast. I gave myself so much pressure to do it like all at one time. It was like, Marie, it's happening. It's happening. You're already raw. You're already 90% fruit. Like, you're doing great. All of this happened in 4 or 5 months. That's amazing. You gave up cheese after however many years. That's amazing. Celebrate those wins. You know what I mean?
I mean, sorry. Yeah, no, I mean, for me too, I used to always beat myself up about not doing everything the right way and not doing it for all the time, and all that, and that's all behind me now. And but I do know that helping is just staying in the moment and day by day. And I only gave up meat 6 months ago and dairy a month ago, and that's so true about the remembering. I was remembering things that I couldn't. I mean, that's just, I know that that's from the dairy thing, and I have been juicing too, but not like seriously. And but that's why I really want. I'm probably expecting too much, that I'll be a whole new different person in 3 weeks' time. Maybe I will be, and that's fine. But it's fine if I'm not too, because I'll know I have done it then as well. But yeah, Kira wanted to jump in and say something. She wanted to read something to inspire me. Off you go, if everyone doesn't mind.
Hi there. Okay, I am going to post this in the group, but I thought it would be great just to read right now. I made myself little flashcards to keep myself inspired. And, it's just creating new patterns in your mind. So this card is titled, Everything You Want Comes from Adopting This Daily Practice of Juicing. And it comes from the idea that Charlie talks about, you take no thought for yourself, meaning the personality in the matrix that's always worried that am I going to get enough? Am I going to be okay? You take no thought of that self, and you just give it all to the right, cast your net to the right. And so then this is the inspirations of what you're going to get from doing the juicing. Feel lighter and clearer, feel better and look much better, more energy and spring in your step. It supports movement. It's easier to move. You'll have a natural magnetic field attraction to whatever you want. It ends pain and inflammation. It removes stress to the rest of the body. It naturally youthens and reveals optimum body condition that is beneath the wastes and congestion. It supports the 5D merge and cosmic meditations. It's the immortal crystalline light body activation. Go time. It's heaven's gate. And
I love it.
The next card says, it opens a very high connection with the divine. Now, maybe not on day one, but if you keep riding this wave and you keep meditating and you keep going to God and asking for illumination, you're going to open up some very beautiful conversations. So here's what it says under this flashcard. It says it clears all fluids in your body. It's like, you go to the mechanic and you empty all the old fluids from your car. You're going to clean all the sludge and all the undigested metabolic waste from eating animal proteins and all the things that our body can't digest, all the frankenfood. It's in little particles floating around in the interstitial fluid. It's what makes us stiff and achy. We're going to clean it. We're going to upgrade. We're going to clean our tanks. I mean, that's huge. That means our body can hold light. So we're going to clear our meridians and the nodes throughout our body. We're going to clear our chakras. We're going to balance our endocrine system. We're going to open up all valves to the light realms. It's going to assist our connection to divine genius. It's going to open the oracle holy flow. an open conversations with angels. And if you read the Essene book, the Essene Gospel of Peace, they talk about the angels of sunshine, of the earth, of the water, and of the air. And believe me, you can have real experiences with these beings as you fast and as you do enemas and as you truly purify yourself with an open heart. It's a deeply mystical experience. And so you're not giving up anything, you are upgrading for the life of your dreams of being so in tune with higher frequency. I mean, it makes me all sparkly and happy. Okay, that's all.
It's making me sparkly and happy too. Oh my God, Kira, thanks so much. It's so beautiful. You have to post it and have to print it and put it up in places, because that's just, you know, I think for a lot of us being right brain people probably all our lives, the visualization is so huge for us, you know, visualizing those things that you just said. I mean, that's just, because then you're intending it and then you're watching it happen right before your eyes in your own body. That's amazing. Thank you, Kira.
You're welcome.
And
Really powerful. Go ahead.
And what I might add, as Justin was saying at the beginning, I've encountered stuff did come up during the process. I did a 20-day juice fast with Josh the end of last year. And when you can look at it in I don't know the right word, wonderment. Justin said at the beginning something like, just experiencing it like, wow, I may feel this. Yeah, I may. And one thing, I just was so amazed of how much less plastic I was using. It was only green stuff coming in and green stuff coming out, both in my body, but also in my environment. And my skin, it feels like baby soft. My hair is real soft. So as Kira was saying, we're cleansing not only our body, but it has a huge effect around us as well.
Because of frequency, yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's getting me into $1 million house, guys, for all of us. For all of us. Woo, we're gonna have so much fun. This house. It's not even the house, it's just the grounds. The house is actually quite small. But it's frequency. Kira, where did you come from?
Am I on or am I muted?
You're on now.
Okay. I have been the lone freakazoid in every room. I've had to keep my light ratcheted down my whole life. You know, it's been, you know, hard hanging out with muggles and zombies. And I've been pretty much a recluse for the past 20 years because I just didn't want to play the game. I didn't want to make karma. I just wanted to tuck in and see if I could get my own shit in a nice little pile and then burn it. You know, not a great visualization. But yeah, I've gone to so many gatherings. I've been looking for my tribe, and I feel that they're still in the matrix, even though they have good intentions. I call them being in the ring of priest and priestesses, where they get close to 0 point, but they don't jump down the portal into the infinite isness and see what else is out there. They're still in the realm of ego and personality cults. And I just couldn't play. And so to find a path that Charlie and Colleen and all of you beautiful people are on together, that we want to see what lies beyond the ego cult. What else is there? Who is the divine, wonder child that is my holy potential? That's what I want to explore. That's the new frontier. That's what I want to get groovy and hang out with my peeps and, sing around the campfire with Siobhan and all yous. That's where we want to be, is in that place. We're in a vortex. We feel like we're creating a spaceship every time we get together because we get so high, right?
Totally. So high.
Yeah.
And I love what you just said about the personalities and all that. Like, I just want to get out of that too. I feel so grateful to be a part of this community. Like, I don't even know how it happened. It's like what somebody was saying earlier about like just stuff happened. People got moved out, like things just got moved. Upgrades happened. Like, I'm just trying to catch up, you know? It's like, and it's beautiful. And Kira, everything you've said, it's just been really powerful. Wow, thank you. Thank you. I was still kicking my like, you know, feet. Last night I saw a couple posts. I was like, all right, fine. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna, you know, just I've done like 7 days. I've done it, but I haven't like done it. And it's time. And it's beautiful to have this level of support and everybody in it together.
Well, I'm going to throw out a crazy idea, and you don't have to do it. Just hold this idea in your etheric body. But what if we all felt such support and love and magic that we all decided to do it for 9 months, and we birthed our crystalline light body, and we all became living masters in this realm, fully activated with all of our God talents online? I mean, what else is it? Why do we want to limit it? Isn't it open-ended all the way into ascension and mastery? Let's just ride the wave and use each other for support. And yeah, you can get off the horse and then come back on again, you know, jump back on the wave.
Wow. I'm with you. I love the feeling of that. I'm in. I want to go all the way too. I just want to be done with all of it. Like, just get away from me. Just don't bug me anymore. Give me such a hard time. Only 40. I'm gonna be 41 on Friday too, guys. It's my birthday. Yeah. I'm so excited, Kira. I love your vibe. Wow. I want to birth the crystalline body too. I want to show you people my body. Like, I like what's happening. I'm like looking at it going, look at you. I'm like shedding layers and layers and layers. It's fascinating.
Show us. Come on, show us.
Down here, I wear a skimpy bikini.
I want to see mine even in 3 weeks going, oh, yes, yes, yes.
What's going on though? You guys, I gained 60 pounds with each of my kids. So, I mean, this is like, I'm just, oh yeah, I was beastly. Not good. It's not about that, but it is. It's incredible. All of this fruit stuff is just making me so happy. So happy, but also so depressed, like what you said earlier, like, wait, I'm learning all of this stuff, like even nuts and avocado. I'm like, but I love avocados. Like, well, they stop detox. It's like, what? I love the idea of a 9-month. It feels like it started us. Wow. Anything else, Kira?
I recommend that people use plant medicine if they're having trouble connecting to their higher self, and the matrix has got you by the short and curly, so to speak, and you're just feeling blocked. And however you want to do that in your own way. And if that isn't comfortable for you, then, you know, that's not your thing. Then I would recommend herb teas, whatever you feel. But sometimes you can get a big breakthrough and just step more fully into feeling comfortable with more power and light flowing through you. And that's why we want to juice, is we want to make space for the power and light, that we hold more light, because really our only job is just to hold frequency here. That's it. I mean, we can create what we want to do for fun and, you know, for money. And, you know, if we do it well with you know, all of our hearts, you know, inspiration towards perfecting our craft, then we'll be supported fully by the universe. We can completely trust in God. You know, God's not going to take us this far and push us off the cliff and say, I fooled you. It's a trap. No, you know, we're with the 18, you know? So my thought is that the more space we make for God by surrendering and clearing, we are the ones that get to walk around like a fucking superhero, excuse my French. We're the one that benefits from that surrender. It's not any martyrdom for us to do that. That's just the lie of the matrix. You know, don't surrender to God, or God's evil, judgmental, you know, bitch, you know. No, that's our own interdimensional self. So let's merge with it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's dance.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up, Kira. Yes, Justin, keep dancing there. I was going to bring it up earlier on because honestly, like microdosing with psilocybin or cannabis or whatever, it's not to get stoned. It's just to keep, honestly, it really, just that little bit to get you over the thing, to just get that anxiety out of you so that you can go inward and feel who you really are, and I think it is very important to say that, Kira. Thanks for saying it, because it's true. We need to get that feeling because we don't know what that feeling is yet. And once you get that feeling, it just goes, oh wow, so I can try and achieve this now with fruit or whatever, you know what I mean? To get there, it just helps on the journey. Not that I'm a big advocate of it or anything, and I wish I could do it properly, that like the microdosing thing, whatever. But I mean, I wrote a song of forgiveness for my mother after not from believing that she never loved me my whole life. Now I had done 20 years of work to be, and I still wasn't even like I wanted to forgive her. It was just like, I don't know, it was just like trying to accept the relationship, but I mean, I got to the point where I had a little psilocybin chucky. I don't know how many grams it was or whatever. And I wrote that song, and that was not the song that I set out to write. And I was asking and pleading with my mother for forgiveness. So it drops the veil of what we can't see through. And I think it really helps for that. And I don't even know even much about it, but that's my only minuscule experience. We can go on to DMT another time, Marie. I think Danny might have liked that conversation. Anyway, thanks, Kira. Again, you're amazing.
Yeah, I really notice a difference when I'm having drops and when I'm not having drops. And I just do. I'm waiting for my new oils with THC. So I'm just doing CBDs, but I like THC. So is that what you're speaking to, Kira? I've never tried the microdosing of psilocybin, but I'm open. I absolutely believe in the power of plants, though. Wow, seriously stuff.
I like the more lighter weight experiences of, like, I am not an advocate of ayahuasca because I think that for most people, they don't know how to protect themselves from the astral, and they can pick up too many hitchhikers. They project themselves as little black dots on your meridian lines, and then you're piggybacking around and you wonder why you're burdened, you wonder why you can't achieve your goals. And so this is one of our Christic initiations, is to face and conquer this and rise up and claim every little erg of our body for God, and cast out all of this, which is the way the matrix operating system works. And so I recommend sweet cannabosum. I recommend that as a very powerful medicine to be used for meditation and for inspiration, for going into your closet and praying with God. And also psilocybin, if you can get a reliable source, and have someone that can do it with you, because you're going to go through phases with it. And, you need to do things like drink water a lot before and a lot during, and, just take care of yourself so that you can break through into the place where you're in divine mind and you experience God so fully in your body that it leaves an imprint, and then you come back down and you're imprinted with a very large expansion of what it feels like to be God in the physical 3D body. And so these plant medicines are meant to be a bridge between realities, and you don't need to become dependent upon them. It's a way to jump up and get a snapshot. So then you go, okay, I got it. I'm imprinted. I could beam out that frequency now.
Yes.
Yeah, you're explaining that way better than I am, Kira. But yeah, that's perfect. That's really perfect.
100%. Yeah, I that's what you do. I loved what you just said, like getting the experience, the imprint, and then knowing that is your truth, is your reality.
It's like a reset button.
Is your home, is where you belong. So, on that too, Kira, like talking more about that and having people ask questions and stuff, because, you know, especially here, there's a lot of overdoing a lot of plants, in my opinion. And ayahuasca is one of them. I've had a few, not just one with ayahuasca, but a few other plants that, you know, we can talk about at some point too, because it's an interesting topic. And I think this is part of where people are going to start to go too, in terms of healing and wanting to be in communion with our creator. But it's all of it. Like you can't just, like, you know, not eat meat for 3 days before ayahuasca and 3 days after. It's like, you know, this is a lifestyle that we're talking about here. This is lifestyle. This is how you're going to style your reality. And it's it's important that it's all aligned. I think there's a lot of like, well, I still drink, and then no, it's like you've got to get all that stuff out. All of it. It's powerful.
Yeah, I forgot that I had some psilocybin chocolate, and I took a tiny bit because it melted on the way getting here, so I didn't know what the dosage was. But anyway, I had a tiny bit, and next thing I realized I was listening to singing bowls for 3 hours.
Right on.
Oh, it was so blissful, though. It was fabulous. But yeah, it can kind of knock you out. So the dosage is very important, you know. But anyway, are we ready for a song, Marie, or what? I said I'd do the Carey one because I know you love Joni Mitchell. Then you're saying it's your birthday, so we have to sing a happy birthday. Then I was thinking because Larry died, I need to do Brightest Star. So I don't know.
Carey.
What?
I love Carey.
Carey. Okay, hang on.
Wow, you guys, what an amazing time together. Thank you. Kira and Patrick. Wow. Thank you. Deborah, such a superstar. Look at this lady. What a life story. Should write a book.
I just want to ask you, did you go through all 8?
I can't hear you now, so I'm just going to
No,
go.
I did. But here's the thing. After you do, real quick, after you do moving in circles,
The wind is in from Africa. Last night I couldn't sleep. Oh, you know, it sure is hard to leave you, Carrie, but it's really not my home. My fingernails are filthy. I got beach tar on my feet, and I miss my clean white linen and my fancy French cologne. Come on, Carrie, get out your cane. I'll put on some silver. Oh, you're a mean old daddy, but I like you fine. Come on down to the Mermaid Cafe, and I will buy you a bottle of wine. We'll laugh and toast to nothing and smash our empty glasses down. Let's have a round for these freaks and these soldiers, a round for these friends of mine. Let's have another round for the red devil who keeps me in this tourist town. Come on, Carrie, get out your cane. I'll put on some silver. Oh, you're a mean old daddy, but I like you, I like you, I like you, I like you. Maybe I'll go to Amsterdam, or maybe I'll go to Rome, and rent me a grand piano and put some flowers around my room. But let's not talk about fare thee wells now. The night is a starry dome, and they're playing that scratchy rock and roll beneath the Madla moon. Come on, Carrie, get out your cane. I'll put on some silver. Oh, you're a mean old daddy, but I like you, I like you, I like you, I like you. The wind is in from Africa. Last night I couldn't sleep. Oh, you know, it sure is hard to hear you, Carrie, but it's really not my home. Maybe it's been too long a time since I was scrambling down in the streets. Now they got me used to that clean white linen and my fancy French cologne. Come on, Carrie, get out your cane. I'll put on my finest silver to go to the Mermaid Cafe, have fun tonight. Said, oh, you're a mean old daddy, but you're out of sight. I hope that wasn't too in your face. I pushed the mic away.
It's so
It was
good.
perfect.
Should we sing happy birthday to Marie though?
Yes.
Let's
Happy
do
born day.
that. Happy born day. Happy birthday to you. You live in a zoo. No, I won't. I'll do it right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear sweet Marie. Happy birthday to you. Happy born day. I should have sang happy born day to you. Okay, next time. What you think, Adam? Are you going to sing happy born day to your mom?
Wow.
Nice. Great stuff. This was fabulous, Marie. Thanks a million. It all was just great energy to start on this feast, juiced feast thing for us all today. It's a great uplifter, you know. Thanks a million. Thanks, Kira, for amazing. And thank you, Nicole, for talking to Debbie, because I've been talking to Debbie and honestly, I didn't have the skills. You girls can help her so much better. I was just an ear, and I'm so thrilled that you're here, Debbie. So, yeah, no, amazing. So thank you, guys, and let's do this.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Justin and Patrick, for being such anchors of love and joy. And Kira and Kazri for putting this together. Seriously, I love Mighty Companions. This is exactly what I wanted. I didn't want it to be just about me and my rap. I wanted to be about Nicole and Siobhan and Justin and Deborah and all of you guys just sharing your gifts and talents and your love for this whole journey that is really transformational. And I love it. I see that. So have a wonderful week. We've got some good shows coming up. Wednesday, we have the Bible study. Friday, Justin's got a Q&A.
No,
Not this week.
not this
Okay.
week.
Well, let's do a campfire. I was telling Charlie and Colleen, I think we should do a nighttime show, do a campfire, something. Maybe finish the week out on Friday. Let's do something if you guys want to. Yeah.
I'm in.
Let's do something fun. Woo. I love you guys so much. Enjoy your juiciness. You guys are all so beautiful. Yeah. Love you.
Love you all.
Namaste. I love you.